my most amazing artists. How are you today? It's me, Mrs. Krieger, coming from my home studio to bring you an awesome art lesson for today. We are going to be focusing on positivity for today's art project. And I want to give a shout out to the Art Room Glitter Fairy for the inspiration for this awesome art project we're going to do today. We will be making positivity posters. And the reason we're going to make positivity posters is so that we can help share some of our loving, kind energy with other people and hopefully brighten up their day a little bit. These posters can be hung up in your house. They can be hung up in the window for people passing by if they want to look at them. You can put them on social media. You could even mail them to a loved one. So in this lesson, we are going to kind of learn a little bit about how to create different types of fonts like block and bubble lettering. But if you're really young and you're not quite confident in your lettering skills, you can still make a creative, positive poster by drawing a picture of something that will make you happy. So think of something that's a very bright and happy picture you could draw if you don't want to do lettering. Let's talk about supplies. You can use whatever art supplies you have access to in your home. Now, if you're a person that doesn't have a lot of art supplies, you need to be a creative problem solver to figure out what you can use to create this art project. Maybe it's newspaper and magazines where you can cut out the letters, or you could use string and cut that and make letters with that. You could even take some sidewalk chalk and write the positive messages on your driveway or sidewalk for people that are walking by. But it's up to you to think of a creative way to do this. Now, before we can get started on making our posters, I think we need to do a little bit of a creative warm-up. Just like for sports, if you were going to play a sport, you would stretch and warm up your muscles. We need to warm up our creative muscles. So we are going to do a warm-up where I'm going to show you some easy ways to create block and bubble letters for a little bit of practice before we start on our poster. So you need to grab a piece of scrap paper, like notebook or even a Post-it, and a pencil. For our warm-up, you need to have some type of paper and a pencil to work with. I'm using an old sketchbook that I do a lot of my warm-ups for drawings inside of already. We are going to learn two types of fonts. We're going to learn how to make a bubble letter and a block letter. And I'm going to show you how you can turn your block lettering into 3D letters. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write out our letters. I'm going to write the word calm because I'm planning on using that in my positivity poster. So we're going to be writing out something I like to call the skeleton, which means we are just writing the letters like normal. I'm going to leave a little extra space in between because I want to make sure that I can make my letters thick, so I don't want them to be too close together. We will be erasing the skeleton later, so you want to keep in mind that you want to draw lightly so that you can erase it later. I'm going to draw this twice, once in lowercase and once in uppercase for my two different types of lettering I'm going to show you. All right, let's start with bubble letters. Bubble letters are going to have curved edges around the ends of your letters, so they're going to curve around. And our letter is the skeleton, so you think about your bubble letter like the body going around your skeleton. So I'm going to follow the curves of my C's to create my bubble letter. Following the curves. Now, if you made your letters kind of close together, they might have to overlap. So right here, it's going to touch my C. So I'm pretending that my A is going to go behind my C. So I'm going to do like almost a whoop sign and jump over it. Don't forget the little window inside the A. I'm going to add a circle in there. All right, that's how you would create a bubble letter. Now I'm going to do the block letters. Block letters are different than bubble letters because they're not going to have a curved edge. They're going to have a flat edge. So when I go for my C, it's going to have a flat edge at the end, but I'm still going to kind of follow the shape of my letter to create my block letter. For block lettering, if you have a point at the top, I usually make it a flat top. So a flat top on my A, I'm just going to follow the shape. It's going to overlap a little bit, so I have to remember that the C is going to be in front of the A. Don't forget that window. L's are really easy. Flat tops on top of my M. There, we just did 2 types of lettering. It looks a little funny right now because we have to erase the skeleton from the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. There we go. That's 2 easy ways to make a font starting out with a skeleton. Remember to draw lightly. You can still see a little bit of my skeleton underneath. The last thing I'm going to show you is how can we turn these letters into forms and make them look 3D like they're popping off the page. I find it most successful doing that with the block letters, so I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on that. When you're doing 3D formed letters, you have to keep 2 aside. So I usually make my letters look like they're popping out from the left side and from the bottom. I find my corners on my letters, and I'm going to make diagonal lines that are very short that go downwards towards the left-hand side. So I'm going to find places where I can put those. So on my C, I could do one right here, and here, and here. Then I can connect some of these shapes. And this one, I'm going to start on the corner of this shape, and I'm going to make a curved line that matches the inside of my C and comes to the inside. And this one, kind of the same thing, is going to come down. And then curved letters with this is a little tricky. I kind of start towards the top, and I follow the shape of that curve around to the bottom. Now on letters like these, you got to find the corners that are on the left-hand side. So I'm going to start here and make a line that comes down a little bit towards the left. Right here I can do one. I can't do one right here because my C is blocking it. I could do one here, and I could do one here, and I can do one here. I cannot do one right here or right here because if I drew a diagonal line at those corners, it would be going inside of my letter, and that wouldn't look quite right. It wouldn't look like it's popping out. So you want to make sure that if you're doing those diagonal lines, they're coming off of our letter outside of the body. Then I can connect those shapes. Whoops, whoops. Connect, 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 connect. Pretty cool, right? Do the same thing on the L. I'm going to find those corners. I cannot put one right here, here, or here because they would go inside of my letters. So I'm going to make a diagonal line going down to the left here, here, and here. And then I can connect. Let's try the M. I can't put diagonals here because they would go inside of my letter, but I can put them here. They're all going to go in the same direction. And then I can connect. To make this even look a little more dramatic, you can color in the sides of the letter to kind of give it almost a shadow effect. And that's something you can do if you want to. It doesn't have to be black. You could do it in a different color. You could add patterns or designs to the edges of these letters. The choice that you get to make. Now this is a kind of challenging font, but I want you to give it a try and see how you do. It takes a lot of practice to get good at making 3D letters, but that's why we're practicing right now. You don't have to use any of these fonts on your final poster if you don't like them. You can go on the internet and research some fonts and pick a font that you'd really like to use in your poster. Cursive is an awesome font to use on posters. I love to use cursive. And you know what? I'll give you one bonus font. A bonus font that's super easy to do is you can just write your word like normal. Make sure you're writing it neatly though, because you're not going to erase this one. And you can jazz it up by adding some dots to the ends of your letters. Oh, look at how easy that is, and it automatically looks a lot more fancy. I want you to take a little bit of time practicing how to do different types of lettering. Maybe think about what your positive message is going to say, or what picture you're going to use if you're not going to write something. And do a little bit of practice, and then we are going to get started on creating the poster. So gather up any materials that you need for your poster once you're done practicing. All right, now that we have warmed up our creative muscles by practicing different types of fonts, bubble letters, block letters, and 3D letters, we are going to begin creating our positivity poster. I want you to choose a positive message that you think will be inspiring to other people. So you need a pencil for this step and a piece of paper. I'm going to begin by drawing out my positivity message. Alright, now that I have my poster drawn out in pencil, I'm going to do the outlining step. I'm going to be using some permanent markers that I have at home, just regular permanent markers, this one's a little thicker, or a Sharpie, to outline and add some boldness to my poster. Now that my poster has been outlined, I am ready to decorate. Now you can use any materials that you might have lying around at home to decorate with. It can be pens, I've got colored pens here, markers, crayons, colored pencils, highlighters, whatever you can get your hands on. And if you don't have any colors at home, a pencil can do a lot of awesome things too. With a pencil, you can get different values by pressing harder and giving more pressure to get a darker color, and adding less pressure, a little bit lighter color. And that wraps up our lesson for today. I'm pretty happy with how my poster turned out, and I can't wait to hang it in my window so that people can see it when they walk by. I want to see what you guys are creating. So find a way to share your picture with me. Maybe social media, you can email it to me, you can post it in my classroom. I want to see what you guys are up to. Have fun creating today. I miss you. You are amazing. Goodbye, my most amazing artists.